The 20 assemblies will have approximately 30 members each for a total of 600 members. Each assembly will elect presiding officers and commit to make decisions about and coordinate the work of the assembly. There will be a financial allotment included to the government's annual estimates of expenditure to be divided equally amongst the people's assemblies, and the financial allocations will be audited by the Auditor General. The suggested functions for the people's assemblies will include oversight of government agencies, community well-being teams, environmental protection and improvement, education, community development and sports, vendor licenses, community forums, planning permissions, government development planning, and a people's cooperative. So you can see that the proposed mandate is fairly wide. To give you some food for thought, some of the questions that we would have proposed, and you're not limited to asking these questions, but you can also bring your own proposals, your own ideas, because nothing is set in stone. These are all initial proposals, and the various town halls we've been going to, we've been soliciting feedback that will be incorporated where relevant. Do you support a system of local government in Barbados? Do you support the idea that each assembly should be non-partisan? Do you support the proposal for each assembly to have 30 persons, or do you think it should be less or more? What do you think should be the minimum age for membership on the People's Assembly? Do you support the proposal that each assembly should comprise a mix of elected private persons who live in the geographical area together with persons nominated from specific departments in the public service? Do you think that the nominated public servant should sit on the assembly in his or her capacity as a public servant or as a private citizen? Noting that each assembly may cover more than one constituency, what do you think should be the relationship, if any, between the People's Assembly and the parliamentary representative? Should sessions of the Assembly be conducted in public? When would you wish to see a system of local government implemented in Barbados? And are there any other functions that you would like to see the People's Assembly address? We give you some time to think about the questions, and you're free to come to the microphone and bring your own or discuss the ones that we proposed. And we'd ask you to give your name first for the purposes of our records. In the interim, I will introduce the panel as I have not done so. To my left is attorney and MP Ralph Thorne. He is the chairman of the Thorne Commission. To my right, we have Adrian Donovan. Why do I keep calling Donovan? Sorry, Peter.
He is still right. It's true. It's true.
Sorry, Adrian. Have Peter Ski on my right, and I am Krista Howell. We are both members of the commission.
Since you started, give all the names of the commissioners, if you remember them.
I remember Richard, I remember Cheryl, I remember Adrian. Okay. Okay.
No, you take your time. Take your time.
Take your time. We have time. The microphone is behind you.
You better put the mic closer. Why is the mic right in the middle?
Thank you. I think they may have.
He's a little far though.
Good evening, members of the panel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me first say that my name is Keith Weeks, also known as Greetings and Salutations. Let me first say to the chairman, the Honorable Ralph Thorne, QC, that after listening to him last year, giving his contribution to the annual estimates, I must say, and without doubt, it was the best parliamentary debate coming from a backbencher in the House of Assembly, to which he should be highly commended and applauded. I think by listening to him in Parliament, naming this commission the Thorne Commission on Local Governance is indeed an honor well deserved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, without doubt, there will still be some sort of involvement when it comes to elected members of Parliament to get involved in the local governance. But personally speaking, I do not believe that there should be political interference in the local governance. I say that because if it is local governance before it was called local government, but it is more appropriate for me to go on with the Thorne's Commission on Local Governance. In the absence of a referendum, I believe that this should be so structured that having 30 constituencies out and coming from the constituencies, there should be about 2 to 4 members from that constituency that are members of the constituency to report to that constituency executive, where you would have those names going forward, and those who are elected or selected should be addressing that particular constituency, so that they would have what I deem as a secret ballot. And those persons who has got the most votes would be deemed the person or persons to be sitting on the local commission. You see, by looking through this agenda I realize where a certain amount of power would be placed into the Commission of Local Governance hands. I see also documented here certain directives given where, in my opinion, one should take into consideration that I think it was in 1997 when there was a discontinuation of non-contributory pensions, that the majority of persons who did not contribute were not able to get what you call old age pension as non-contributory pensions. I think that this commission would have to be more than careful. Let me reiterate. I think that this commission should be more than careful not to be called upon to be a part and parcel of an extended welfare department. This commission, I am saying, should be a commission where if persons that are unemployed and deliberately refuse to work, there should be a means test of some sort. Whereas they cannot look upon the commission to be a fairy godmother or fairy godfather. We have to be more serious when we come to people's business.
Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to understand why you would think the commission would become an extension of a welfare department. The proposal would be for the elected persons who would be selected by persons within the community to organize projects or functions that they think would be for the betterment of the community. You're envisioning that persons would take advantage of that and just use it to give handouts?
I didn't get that clearly, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Continue, don't worry, continue.
What I'm saying here is that today we have the services of welfare, and having the introduction of the Thorne Commission on Local Governance, there will come, because it named local government now, there will come and put unnecessary dead weight on the commission, where I am saying that we should have the mechanisms put into place so that they would not be getting what you call welfare, because we have to be very careful that we don't end up being a welfare state. This is the point that I'm trying to get. I recall during the last administration, you had a makeshift, they had a name for it, that the last administration had, where people were getting aid, but, pardon? Thank you ever so much. Thank you very much. Right. Now, because of its structure, people with a conscience refuse to be part and parcel of that organization. And therefore, I recall a gentleman who is a pastor on the Harbor Road in that area refused to take any further dealing with it because he didn't like the way how things were being handled. I should not expatiate on that. However, I am saying that it was so structured that it is believed that people were sent down to the welfare. I am asking that there be a certain amount of professionalism in the structure of this new commission. I am begging that there will also be transparency in this new commission. I am asking that it may be a bit difficult for it to happen because at the end of the day, the parliamentary representative still have to have a say because that person is the elected member of parliament. So therefore, you still have to bring certain details to him or to her. But at the same time, the body should be working independently. These persons' ages, as I took note that it had been asked, the ages that the person should be on the commission. I would like to first suggest the ages of joining. The ages of joining should be the same age that one has the privilege to go and put their eggs. And I think that age is 18 years of age. The responsibility now of that individual to sit on the commission should begin from the age of 18 to the same time that one is subject to retire from government service. And I think that age is between 68 and 72. But I am a person who feels age is only a number. Because we have some people who are senior citizens who are more constructive to the society than juveniles. I'm not trying to underestimate the ability of the younger folks, but one must not fall short of reality. We have some people in this country who are senior citizens, but they are put on the back burner and told you are old, you lived your time already. I think that is an insult to the intelligence of maturity, because I cannot remember who is the author of what I'm going to say, but I recall this: a man that is young in years can be old in hours. I cannot remember the author. A man that is young in years can be old in hours. So at this point, I wish this commission my blessing, and I sincerely hope that when it's being set up, it will be above the board, and this should, as aforesaid, and I don't like to repeat myself, but sometimes one must repeat themselves. They should be given that opportunity to take the weight from central government, because they have the ability to report, let's say, to the chairman and say, well, look, this road needs doing. So-and-so house in the area needs refurbishing. Things of that nature. Miss A or Miss B, I have not seen for X time. So this commission should be able to reintroduce the district nurses. This commission should also be able to have a doctor on call for the age and the shut-ins, because we have a lot of people who live by themselves that you may not see. So therefore, we should still have someone from that person to pay a courtesy call and to see if that person that living by themselves, the type of care that they require, the type of help that they require, the type of the attention that they need. So therefore, we are bragging right now, ladies and gentlemen, of one of the best healthcare services in the Caribbean. And the government should be commended and congratulated for that. But at the same time, we have to get rid of hypocrisy. And this is the hypocrisy that we have at the hospital. Are you all aware that we have some patients who cannot help themselves, but yet you'll see a tray of food come to the ward and place next to that patient that can't help themselves, and when the bell rings for you to leave that ward, the food is still there. They have to go sleep hungry. The type of care that you need is nurses, is actually to help feed those persons that can't help themselves. And this is the point now that I'm going to get at. Be dealing about health care. People who cannot afford to get, let's say for example, cataract. You get an appointment for 3 or 4 or 5 years. That may be exaggerating, but let's say 2 years. You always get put down. But yet, there is a doctor who works privately. Okay, there's a doctor who works privately, go at the same hospital, and if he see you there, he say, if you can pay me $5,000, I can do it at the hospital, using the hospital's equipment. These are things that we have to look at, because a dollar saved is a dollar earned. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution.
Very well said.
We invite anyone else who would like to make their comments heard to come to the microphone and give their name and responses to any questions that we would have asked earlier. Can you remind?
Take it back. The technical people want you to take it there.
You what?
Yes, that gentleman. He wants you to stand there.
Good night
Good night.
to the panel, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Everton Rowe. The Everton Rowe, Secretary Treasurer of Passage United Sports and Culture Club.
What is the name of the club? Sorry? Passage. Oh, Passage.
Passage United.
Oh, congrats.
I come here tonight to support the Thorne Commission because I feel it's a good thing for the community.
Yeah.
I feel it's a good thing for the community. We got some problems here now on this pastor. From 1992, we was here on this pastor. And the only people that do things from this pastor is Passage United. Nobody else. We're the oldest community-based club that here. When we play beer cricket from this pastor all the time. And then a little football easy.
The fire services are here again?
Fire service ain't playing the cricket no more, but they're playing football this year.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we find that this pastor is being taken over by footballers. People sending footballers down here all the time because we got lights. So we know it's cricketers, we can't practice in the day, no, we can't practice for the night. 2 weeks ago, we were entered the over 40s from last year. And 2 weeks ago, we come to practice, and we understand Mr. Donovan came down here with a message, tell you don't company pastor this football season. And we don't understand, we from this community, somebody telling me the government pastor for people don't belong down here. Because the body that down here, that almost controlling down here now, do not belong to down here. They're not part of the community. The people in that grouping do not belong to this community. And I want to know if everyone can make it clear in this here, if the people from if this community center is for the people in the community or the people from outside. When somebody comes from outside and use this community center, it's a guest. The people that in the community can't be guests. The community center was made for we. And nobody should come and take away all rights. Now the lights that are up there, this is over here. That this gentleman got the keys for we lights. Because I say we because I belong to this community. And this club is a community club. And we cannot go in there and put on the lights unless he come and open there and he lives in St. Peter. The sports council do that. And that is totally disrespectful to we in this community. I want to talk. I want to talk to Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Rowe, there's someone online that's asking if there's a schedule for the use of the pavilion in place.
There's a schedule
If there's a schedule for the use of the pavilion.
to use the pavilion.
Yes.
Yeah, each sports also got schedule for use the pavilion.
And is there any leeway to give input into the schedule so that persons in the...
No, we don't get any input into it.
Who's in charge of the schedule?
The sports council, them is just decide who should come down here and don't talk to the community at all. Then just send people down here to do anything that they want, that the people ask to use down here because we're the central area and we got lights. So then they keep sending people down here, so, and the people that belong down here can't use the pastor when they want to use it.
And
And not about that fair.
there's no one from the community that's been able to represent to them the...
I was representing the community.
Okay. And what was
And
the...
I was also working in sports council for 5 years. I guess only last year that I came home, but I worked for 5 years, so I could go inside and talk to Mr. Thompson. But I keep telling him about this football, because this football is come and mash up we pastor. And they don't contribute nothing to develop the pastor. Every single thing that happen over here by this pastor is Passage Club, or me and this gentleman down here, Mr. Roach. Let's do everything by this pastor. We repair everything over here, all the tools down there, almost all the tools down there belong to Passage Club. Because every time you ask the sports council for something, you got a problem, so we buy them, we owe money. The whole complete part that fence off there with mold, I buy it out my own money, and I fence it off too. But people that, like me, that in this community, you get a fellow with a tire up on his neck, so he becomes somebody special. And the people that in the community that do all the work in the community don't get no recompense. And that's not about that ain't fair.
Do you
So
think...
when this thing go wrong, you will find that I got two people that from 92, he did before me, he here from 90, Mr. Roach. He here from 90. I come out here in 92 because I bring Beverly Hills up here to play cricket from 92 because they had this problem with football down there, mash the field all the time. So we bring it here. So we had no problem for the first 4 or 5 years because we play women cricket, all kind of cricket they play upon this pastor. And if you come down here, the sports council don't cut this, they cut this pastor, Passage and Beverly Hills. All the women and the men out there, we work upon this pastor, cut it, carry off the grass, clean up all the stuff around the pavilion. That's what we was doing with the sports council was supposed to do. Me and Mr. Roach and another fellow named Maloney, the wicket out there. I came, I see one wicket there, and I get the mold and put down another wicket, the tree, for the pastor. Because they said if 2 teams play with me and fire service, you should have got 2 wickets. So he put on second wicket. Now the sports council, me, with the help of Mr. Roach and Mr. Maloney. So we had 2 wickets there. But every time the pastor was cutting, we used to cut the pastor, not the sports council. And then people should just drive up here for the night and do the things out there upon the pastor. Left all the pastor, all counters and all kind of things. So I buy the mold there so and block off the whole of there. That you can't deal with the vehicles. Because my club, they playing here, and I had a little fine art, so it was in my interest to help the community as far as that is concerned. But now as I tell you, we got this problem here, with this man come dominating we pastor, and I don't understand it. I can't get it understand at all. How can somebody dominate our pastor that don't belong to me away? And we can't get anything like this. If we practicing, or you practicing, see you practicing football per night. From 7, that's the permission he had. And we practicing from evening to 6 o'clock. Now the sports council give you permission to practice from 4 o'clock right up to 9 o'clock at night.
Have you
And we can't practice by pastor.
have you written to the sports council?
I read it, the sports council, I thought, no answer, no correspondence from them.
What about your,
The last day, I told just 2 weeks ago, Mr. Donovan is the boy that come down here and tell the government to tell me to campaign pastor. We don't know someone can tell me to campaign pastor, we don't we?
what about your parliamentary representative? Have you?
We ain't got a parliamentary representative.
No, don't say that.
We got a
You see,
parliamentary
you're
representative.
highlighting a problem.
I went to Mr. Adderley from last year. What this problem they got here upon this pastor? And Mr. Adderley tell me sports council is the body that in charge of the pastor.
So your team isn't playing cricket at all,
We playing the over 40s right now.
and you're
But we
not
can't-
using this field here.
But you use this fee.
But the footballers are digging up the pitch.
Yeah, and don't, Mr. Thorne, don't care how you talk, you drop. Them come up on the pastor, them see the rainfall. And if you got any discretion, you understand there's 2 sets of cricket playing and football. And if you see that wicket there so muddy, soft, you cannot practice on the wicket. Them ain't care. I had a 5 years of that here. I know the groundsman are there, so he talking about it now. I tell you, seeing where they're going through. Because sports council ain't doing that about it. They bring more football by pastor. Now, them taking out the pastor from 4 o'clock. The man bring a whole set of children out there to practice football, so we can't practice. And then 7 o'clock, the practicing fresh with the big people.
So the problem is that you cannot identify a body that has authority to run the facility here. That's the problem.
A body, what you mean a body?
Well, an organization,
Do you want ball around here so it's sports council?
sports council, and
Yeah.
there's
Sports
no
council was right here.
other. So
Let me
that
dictate.
you
Huh?
would support a body of citizens
Yeah.
from this area
From this area.
who will have a genuine say
Say.
in the management of the facility.
Yeah, because I don't understand. That amazes me how somebody that live in St. Peter got keys for this month.
Which is in itself a form of local government.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Which that way it's supported from the beginning.
Yes.
Because that's the right thing that should happen. We in the community, the body supports have got the control of running wrong this way.
And do you have access? Do you have access to this
Yeah.
center? You
Yeah,
have
we
access.
got access.
Yes.
Pastor's got a room downstairs that we just use for selling soft drinks and things
Yes.
to make a little funds. So we got a room here.
How
But
many
we-
members do you have?
Huh?
How many members do you have? Members and supporters. 'Cause
We got about 30 somebody members
Oh, that's
in the adults,
yes.
but in the children is about nearly 50 saying.
Excellent. Excellent. You need to appoint a body of persons to make representation to the National Sports Council.
All right.
Yeah? And do a formal letter to the National Sports Council. Or a delegation of about 3 or 5 of you go up to the National Sports Council by appointment, of course.
All right, I understand that.
Yeah?
Mr. Mark Fingal,
Uh-huh.
when he first became the chairman,
Yes.
and he came down here to play cricket. When he came down here, so at least the person was support the boy, they're working. But I was there to save the day. Because Passage Club got a key to open here. So I was able to open, so Mr. Finger could think it would be an embarrassment that I make the player come and for St. Catherine to play cricket in the company. So I had a key and I opened there. I talked to Mr. Finger. Mr. Finger said he was going to get a meeting with all the people that is using these facilities. He never came off.
Well, you have to speak to him again. He is chairman of the National Sports Council, is he?
Yeah.
And he was also president of St. Catherine's Cricket Club, so he would understand these problems.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you speak to Mr. Fingal by telephone and take 5 persons up there to meet with him and coordinate the activities between the footballers and the cricketers.
Well, I will do that here. I will talk to Mr. Finger again. I will write
Yes.
the letter. You tell me to write?
Yes.
I will write a letter on
Yes.
behalf of the club and the community.
Okay.
Because my letter, the last letter I sent in, I ain't speaking about just playing the cricket. We talking about doing things for some of the younger people
Correct.
in the side here
community activities.
Yes, learn them things, and then the older people will go out something for the older people.
Yes.
And if we can't go, if you got 5 and 6 nights a week, people doing dancing in here, we can't get the facilities for the people in the community. So you deprive the people in the community from using the facilities.
Mr. Skeet wanted to say something to you as well.
I think that you should still have some engagement
His name is
with
Mr.
the...
Skeet.
Yeah, Peter Skeet here. You should still have some engagement with the other groups that use the facility, so that there could be some consideration being given. We know that the Passage Sports Club is a very outstanding community-based organization. A number of young cricketers have been developed at this facility. I had the privilege of playing cricket at this facility, obviously when I was much younger. So I know of the contribution that Passage Sports Club would have made. But playing fields are for public use, and I don't think that for 1 minute that the Sports Council will prevent other organizations from using the facility, because they're there for Barbadians, irrespective of the fact that this is Passage as a community. So I am suggesting some engagement with the other groups that use the facilities here, so that you can inform them a little. And they should have some common sense. If there's rain, please don't use the field when there's rain. We usually have that problem. We had that problem in the past at the Desmond Hill Sports Complex in Holders, where other groups will come and use the facility. And what we would have done is that we would have brought all of the clubs together and have meaningful discussion, and then put forward a schedule where you have specific days for the different types of discipline. And then you engage the coaches. Any reasonable coach would not wish to let his charges run on a field when it's wet, because when it becomes dry, then it is a disadvantage for the very same footballers. So these issues need engagement, engaging the other groups who use the facility, not in a hostile way, in a very civic way, so that there could be some consideration given for all of the groups that the Sports Council give permission to use the facility.
Due to the fact that the over 40s is played from February to March during the football time, when we go out there to practice, we will put up the nets and ball off it, so the ball will come in this direction and the ball will go above. The government talked to Mr. Bovell and I explained to him what we doing there. He said, no, we got permission to use the whole pastor. So he and the government get way about that day. And he went back to the Sports Council and tell the Sports Council that we practicing cricket out here, we let children out here practicing football, and they would get hit with the ball. And Mr. Donovan come down the next day and tell me, your company pastor. He said, go off the pastor. You're practicing football this cricket. You're practicing cricket this football season.
Mr. Rowe, you're an old Beverly Hills man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I run in Beverly Hills for all back in the 80s.
And that club is now defunct. You see,
them there, I can only play football, but we left down there because of that day.
You see, those old clubs themselves constituted forms of local government. They organized activity, and people followed them, and they were able to keep the community stable. We see the People's Assembly as a formalized form of local government, because as I'm saying, your clubs used to be forms of local government as well, but a lot of them did not have the kind of control, because there was always some conflict between whether it was the cricketers using the field or the footballers using the field. But a well-organized People's Assembly would hopefully coordinate those activities and harmonize them so that there's no conflict.
Well, I believe so too. I believe so too.
Yes.
So that's what we're hoping for.
And you would be interested in being a part of that, I take it.
Hey, thanks very much.
Most welcome.
Thank you as well. We have a few comments from online. Shari Lobo has stated with regards to the age that you cannot put an age on the membership for the People's Assemblies. We need to rely on the persons who can do the work, and ageism has no place to move Barbados forward. She also reiterated that transparency is imperative for the government of Barbados. And when the question was proposed as to whether the persons online believe that this should be nonpartisan, the persons online agreed, yes, it should be nonpartisan, and we should try to keep the party politics out of it as much as possible by staying neutral and enforcing accountability. If there's anyone else that would like to make a contribution, please feel free to do so.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Glenn Harvey, former Youth Commissioner for the city also. Glenn Harvey.
Representing from where?
I'm representing New Orleans and surrounding areas. I'm also the president of New Orleans and the just elected chairperson for the Boxers Road Committee.
Welcome.
One of the reasons that bring me here tonight is that actually I am frustrated. Coming to all of these meetings year after year, night after night, hearing the same thing and getting no results for years. This has been going on. Now, we have a community center in New Orleans that is now, I should say, in a state of disrepair, not functional. When that center was functional, nobody in New Orleans could have used it. We have applied to the Sports Council. As Abay know, he can tell you, we applied to the Community Development on numerous occasions. We were denied years, over 15 years, from using the community center. But you have people coming from the Ivy Rovers, and using the center at the time, and we had denial to the center. Now the center is used for a police post, which they have moved out the police. They were doing a very good job down there. We had the DARE program. We had the Sunshine program there. We also had darts, dominoes, table tennis, all those things to go on there in New Orleans. But now, down there is dilapidated state. Recently, the police have also stopped football from playing in the area. I don't know for what reason. I don't know if it's because of the gun violence or what. But you stopping football, a club like Pavilion Sports Club that was around for nearly, how much years, 67? 60-something odd years that produced a number of, outstanding footballers in this country, national players, cricketers, people like Cultureman, Everton Ford, table tennis. Now the Orange is like, what should I say, a ghost town.
Terry Hall.
Nothing is going on there. Nothing.
Do you know Terry Hall?
Terry Hall, yeah. Nothing is going on there. I opened a school in 2007, a community private school, community high school. School was going very well and whatnot, but then due to the shooting and whatnot in the area, people get scared of sending the children to the school. I had to close the school.
A football school?
No, a community, a private school. School, yeah. Then the police at the post, they used to organize a lot of different activities. We had Carl Williams. He was in charge of their program. You have the police doing football. You had netball. They would carry the old people to picnics, etc., etc. And I think they were doing a fantastic job. And I believe that we need to get back community policing at its fullest. I think that the communities in this area have lacked, especially Orleans, have lacked from the community policing. These gentlemen here, I'm telling you, does a fantastic job, but they need the resources. Their hands are tied. They need more resources. They can only do ever so much.
And community support.
Yes, please, I need support. They just get support. Sergeant, you can tell myself, I must organize things down there. I have a school program. Every summer vacation, I include the officers.
Excellent.
I also have a Christmas program where we give up food hampers and whatnot. There they won last year. Well organized,
Mr.
wonderful
Harvey,
program.
the media need to highlight persons like yourself. You're in a difficult community and you're trying to organize young and old people, and you don't get any recognition.
No recognition. Actually, I was youth commissioner, Mr. Carter knows that. I should say, kicked out of affairs for no apparent reason. I don't know why. Mr. Skeet can tell you. I was one of the most producing youth commissioners in that department. Steel pan, I had in city, nail technology, football, netball, we had basketball, I had lingerie, I had nail art. From the time, this is no joke, from the time I leave the city of youth commissioner, the city has been down. Other youth commissioners came since me and nothing have happened.
You're optimistic that there are young people and people in the city in general who are interested in building a community
Yes, please.
back?
Yeah. And I talk to a lot of them every day. Because my thing is walking the city, fathers can tell you, I have people who can testify. I walk the city day in and day out, speaking to young people, old people, doing programs.
So you haven't given up hope?
I'm not giving up hope.
Do you think they'd be willing to put themselves forward to be elected on the people's assemblies for their area?
Yes, I have people, actually two of them was supposed to be here tonight, but due to the weather, I believe that's what's stopping them from coming. But I have people, we just formed a committee here for Baxter's Road. I've been to NCC to get the areas here by Colleen and by the fish sellers clean. I carry a letter, then they tell me I have to go to my representative. When I call the office is telling me they had it in the gathering program, but no, it's no more in the gathering program. And we are about to start Baxter's Road Festival shortly, but the areas in the surroundings need clean up. We have an area down here by the fish sellers that everybody go and dump everything over there. We have one here by Collins Bar here in Baxter's Road. If you go there and look at that there now, you will see that there's a mess, right? It was clean, yes, it was clean. Somebody went back and dumped all sorts of garbage and thing there. We would like to start the Baxter's Road Festival, but we have no resources. We don't have nobody help clean the area. We had to sanitation. They have promised on numerous occasions and nothing has happened. And our committee have programs in place and we are ready and willing to start because it's part of the gathering program 2020.
In terms of the structure for the proposed assemblies, do you agree that it should have a mix of private persons from within the communities, a mix of persons in public office who will be in the public service, as well as persons who are young persons from tertiary institutions?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I also form the Barbados Youth Volunteers Academy. It's our 7th year, and it consists of students from various secondary schools, from third form up to even UE. We have members from UE, and we participate in every fun run that happens in Barbados. We are the marshals, we do the water stations, we also do the food hamper program. We work with Starcom Network with all their T20s as their volunteers. It's a PAC program.
You mentioned third formers. Do you think there should be a minimum age for persons who would be elected onto the assemblies?
I would say that we need to involve some of our school people on the assembly.
What age?
I was looking at from fourth form.
Fourth form,
Yeah.
senior bodies.
Senior boys who have a more understanding about what, And because with my program, I start from third forms up. I just went to Springer School and I got about 15 students from there. The membership is about 47 overall. And there's all 7th year in existence. And as I said earlier, we just participate for all, volunteer for all of the fun runs in Ireland. We run the water stations, we man the marshals on the road, etc., etc.
How do you envision the relationship between the persons on the assembly and the person who might be representing for the public service? So, for instance, we've had some discussion with the National Sports Council, but we're also envisioning having persons across different public sectors, service, having a seat on the assembly. How do you think that relationship would work? Do you currently have a relationship with anybody in the public service?
Yes, I believe someone from public service should sit because that would be area you can get assistance to certain entities. If you have a person like them sitting on the assemblies.
Okay. So you think it would be a benefit?
Yeah, it'd be better, yeah. Yeah. And one thing I would like to say, I don't know if I should say it here, but I want to see my representative more regular.
Mr. Harvey, I want to say, sorry. Of all the assemblies we've held so far, I think this is the 9th. I don't think we've heard a voice as reassuring as yours that you're willing to rebuild your community. And we want to thank you for the effort that you're making and want to encourage you to read the document we've given you to support this initiative, because the government can do as much as it wants to do in terms of establishing People's Assembly.
Yes.
The public service can do as much as it can do, but unless we have the people's support, this is not going to go anywhere. It is people like yourself who need to get involved, who need to be highlighted for the outstanding work that you're clearly doing, you and Mr. Rowe, in this community. And we identify people like yourselves as the persons who will drive the people's assemblies. Yes, so I really appreciate your presence here tonight.
Yes, because as recently as last year, I think December, officer, I think it was December, we formed a group, we formed a youth club in New Orleans, another youth club other than Beverly Hills, because we were saying it as where there's certain fellows in the area and Beverly Hills is concerned, there are conflict between Beverly Hills and some youngsters. So what we did, we formed another youth organization, New Orleans Sports and Social Club. But the problem with them is that they have nowhere to meet. If I don't open my home for them to come there, there's nowhere to meet.
Where do you live?
AFAB New Orleans.
Right.
I open my home for all sorts of meetings. Everybody come, I let them use it. No charge. I provide drinks and all, refreshment.
We should tell you that our proposal for the People's Assembly is that hopefully the police department will also sit on the People's Assemblies. You're working with the police already, but in a rather informal way. And we want to tell you that our proposal is that when the People's Assembly comes into existence for this area, certainly, that police officers, we are proposing that police officers sit on that People's Assembly. And I would think that is the beginning of a harmonious relationship between the citizen and the police to rebuild these communities.
Yeah, because I also believe that community policing had played a great role in the past, and I would like to see it returned.
And I'm not saying these communities in any condescending way, because I'm talking about all of the communities in Barbados. All of the communities in Barbados are problematic in one way or another. And the main problem in all of the communities in Barbados is a lack of communication.
True, it's true.
People are living in their separate houses and having minimal relationship with the person next door. Sometimes a car number, sometimes the beep of a horn. So it's all communities of which I speak.
Yeah, but if we can get the pavilion or the center, repair and upgrade and whatever, there's a form we can hold meetings. We actually used to hold functions and socials and whatnot at the center. But as I said earlier, as the police know, the center right now is in disrepair. Nobody can't use the center. Even the policemen had to move out. We have the pavilion roof is dropping in all now at Westbury. Beverly Hills can't even use the pavilion to changing. And that has been so for the last 2.5 years. But all we get is promises. And young people are getting frustrated. Right? We had programs where a lot of the youngsters who are in block, I can tell you some of them who actually shooting at each other now was engaged in programs. They don't have anything to do. Their minds are elsewhere now. They don't have anything to do. And that is why we can upsurge in crime in certain communities, because a lot of facilities and programs.
So what I'm hearing is that one of the key focuses, if the People's Assemblies came about in this community, would be community development.
Exactly.
Because you want to make sure that you have persons engaged. I know when I was growing up, I used to live around the corner. We were very engaged. The school was the ones who would have organized most of the activities we were involved in. And I do agree it helped keep a lot of us out of trouble, which without that kind of involvement from the teachers and the persons in the community, we'd probably be doing something we shouldn't have been doing. And I do agree, I think it's key to help persons in these communities. And I will say that as some person growing up who grew up in these communities, I think that contributed a great deal to us being able to keep our focus and our heads in something productive.
Yes, I'm glad to mention the schools, because the school is also a problem.
I know.
Getting to use the school, some principals believe that they own the schools, honestly speaking. And getting to use the schools is a serious problem, especially Westbury School.
I realize Westbury's had a lot of different principals as well.
Yeah.
In such a short space of time.
And we have principals, honestly speaking, them and parents can't communicate, can't get along, and that is not what a principal is supposed to be. You're supposed to be in there with the community, have a good interaction with the community and parents. And when you go to use the school, you're hearing, I shouldn't say this anyhow.
Mr. Harvey, any of the media houses called you? They interviewed you? Was your work featured in any
No,
of them?
I was interviewed a time back with by Carol Roberts on my school, but not basically the entire community.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2014.
You see, the perception in Barbados is that people like you don't exist.
Correct.
That's the perception. When people think of many communities in Barbados, they don't think that people like you exist.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think your work needs to be publicized.
Myself, Abay's fathers here, and maybe our community-minded people
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
for years.
And who is being highlighted?
Exactly. So then the perception of this neighborhood is stigmatized
Yeah, it's true.
as only having one type of persons in the community when that's really not the case.
Because we even face the problems that there are some young people in the area when they apply for jobs from New Orleans, and they put down New Orleans, even Chapman, certain areas on here, and they put down those places as their addresses. You know, it's a lot of discrimination, and then, you know, yeah, oh, I can't employ you because you're from a criminal area. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah, I could recall a guy by the name of Grantley Jackman. He lived in New Orleans. He applied when the market was building for a job at the market. When the gentleman looked at his paper, he told him, come back next week. Job went back the next morning down the other gate and put down his address as Kensington Lodge and worked the same morning. Got the job the same morning. So that's how it is.
Unfortunate.
Right? When you come from these communities, to be honest, you know, people look at you as a red-light community. I can remember I was working in an environment too, and when the lady here is from the audience, oh man, what was the big criminals and thieves and things down there? And you know, that's how they look at the people from within the city in general. Stretching from Nelson Street right down, I can tell because I have canvassed this city from 1976 until now. I have it to hide with the Barbados Labour Party.
If you were to sit on a People's Assembly, what would you think should be the maximum age of a person on that People's Assembly?
I don't feel there should be a cut-off age.
Should not be a maximum
Yeah,
age.
should be a
What
maximum
about a
age.
minimum age?
From 18,
18.
yeah.
Okay.
I think from 18 up.
What about 16?
16.
A chap gets a driver's
Yes, you
license
can
at
work with
16.
you can work with a 16 year old. I have 16-year-olds in my organization that, I mean, when they start to talk to you and the ideas they put to you is brilliant. So yeah, I think we can work with 16. Yeah.
Mr. Weeks made reference to it. Do you think the parliamentary representatives should sit on the People's Assembly as a member of that assembly,
I think maybe after the assembly, we should look not to involve politics in them.
not to involve partisan
Yeah.
politics, right?
I think keeping out the parliamentary representatives in these assemblies will play a great role in developing the assembly because people are going to
developing the
see it as
community.
political.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We've been hearing that all over Barbados, actually.
Yeah.
Yes,
Whether you're opposition or government, people are going to see it as political.
yes.
Even if they want to do something to any, background, but to put them on these assemblies, I don't think that is good. Yeah.
I think in St. Philip we had two contributions which offered the suggestion that the representative must sit on the assembly. Yours is a different view. And I must say to you that the majority view that we are getting across Barbados is that the representative probably should not sit.
That would be
On-
too
on the assembly.
intimidating a
2
presence.
minutes,
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
precisely.
Because I noticed when we had the other one, you find that a lot of those people are handpicked politically, and it
Yeah.
caused problem and conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the proposal for this is that persons within your community, once they review your profile,
Exactly.
they will vote for whether they would want you to sit on the assembly or not. So as long as persons in the community come out and vote for you and you have their best interests at heart, I keep emphasizing you get what you vote for. If you vote for persons who are just here to play party politics, then you would get an assembly that's full of party politics. But hopefully persons will recognize and know the persons in the community who've been doing the work and vote for those persons to represent them so that actual projects can get off the ground and you can start to see a change in your community. I would love for this area to be known as one of the best community areas.
Exactly.
That would be personally a win for me.
And we as community people in the city have our community at heart, honestly.
Yeah.
Look, there was a time in Barbados when I think just about the entire football team came from this area.
Yeah.
You know that?
National
When I
team.
say this area, Carrington
Yeah,
Village.
yeah. We had people like Potty
Mainland
and those
here.
guys. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not so again, is it?
I think for the past, about 6-7 years, we passed 10 years, we don't have a national player. We haven't have a national player on national team. Football, we passed 9 or 10 years. That's,
Mr. Donovan will tell you they're coming from paradise now.
okay. Yes, Donovan knows me too.
Everton used to be, Everton was a city-based football team as
Yeah,
well.
Everton, we had Everton, Beverly Hills, yeah. Chapman, Orleans area.
And of course, the greatest of them all, Weymouth Wales.
Yeah.
You would admit that? And then there was Youth Town with
Youth
tennis.
Town, yeah.
All of the Barbados
The tennis,
table
yeah.
tennis players came from Youth Town.
Then we had the Elk Steel Pan from Chapman, Reverend Morgan.
And you feel strongly that that can return to the city
Yeah,
and to St.
because
Michael.
when I was youth commissioner, we had a very good Steel Pan group of youngsters. I mean, that was doing very good. Mr. Skikandale, Mr. Carter, and they were requested for every event. Everything have gone through the others now.
But Glenn, haven't you met the youth office for this area? Do you know who the youth
Yeah,
officer is?
sorry, I forgot to mention Miss Dorinda Farnell is the youth officer for this area. I'm gonna be honest with you. She's trying her utmost best to get things done in the city. 'Cause I'm working with her also.
Right.
In terms of getting young people into the renewal program and Palm Marine and BCC and those areas, she is doing a fantastic job. But to be honest, I think that Ms. Farnell have too much a big area to cover, her one. And they no extend the city beyond what it was. And it's a real area to cover, for her one to cover.
But then why it bothers me that you're saying that there's the absence of resources to help you with the programs. I mean, this is the city of Bridgetown. This is in the heart of commercial activity. There should be some meaningful interaction with the businesses, so that they should have a stake in the development of the communities which surrounds them.
Yes, I do get assistance from 1 or 2 businesses in town. There are about 3 of them are always look out to help me every year. But there's some businesses in town that believe, no, they come from the city, they don't want anything to do with city people, to be honest. Then you go to them, I can remember going to a certain establishment in town, I won't call his name right now. And when I went to him, I produced our letter and everything. He said, oh, Orleans? No, do it down there. And that is one of the businesses that the people from the Orleans and the city used to spend money in frequently, every day.
But it must be packaged in a way that these businesses see the value in it, because if there's criminal activity in communities that surround their businesses, it will ultimately affect them.
Exactly.
So it's just a way of getting that message over in a meaningful way, so that they can see the need to contribute towards sports and culture and educational activity in these communities.
Because we recently had a Christmas program here with the MP, and even the MP himself was finding it hard to get sponsorship from certain businesses.
Everything cannot be left for the state.
Exactly.
We've actually had a few businesses after the town halls that came forward and said that they would assist persons who were on the People's Assemblies in getting the different functions that they decided on going.
Okay.
However, there's some comments online where persons are proposing that we should have business persons sitting on the assemblies and make room for them, not just as a private citizen or a public servant or a youth, but the business community's voice should be represented on the assemblies. So it's a proposal we have not had before, and it will be something we'd have to give some consideration to. Do you think it would help if the People's Assemblies comprised business persons within the community?
Yes, I think that would help a great lot, honestly. Because, as I say in Bridgetown, as Peter was saying, the city of Bridgetown at least, shouldn't be having no worry or problem getting sponsorships.
Y'all have the most businesses.
The most
probably
businesses
outside
is the
of-
capital of Bridgetown.
Yeah.
It's capital of the city, sorry.
There's nowhere else that's going to have as many businesses as the.
As I said earlier, there are certain businesses that I can go to and just walk in and get sponsorship from certain business places. But the others that give you a hard time, honestly.
Mr. Harvey, we want to say to you that the development of Barbados will not go very far unless the people are involved. And I don't want to say it too often, but people like yourself, the communities now have to get involved in the governance of this country, because you're talking about people's lives.
True, it's true.
And the cabinet and the parliament can reach only so far, but unless they have people, the people with them, constituted as people's assemblies involving all persons in the communities, we're not going to get a lot of political and social development in Barbados. So we're going to ask you not to give up and to help us.
I'm not giving up.
Help us to promote the idea, and not only the idea, but the reality that local government must come back to Barbados. And we are proposing in the form of people's assemblies. And the work that you are doing is the work that a people's assembly should be doing. So it is nothing foreign. There's nothing esoteric about it. The work that you are doing is the work that a people's assembly ought to be doing, but you're doing it alone.
And without the financial backing.
Because sometimes you have to day down this.
Exactly.
Precisely.
That's what we've basically been trying to do, to spread the burden, both physical burden and the financial burden.
Because I find sometimes that you organize programs, you go to people for sponsorship, they give you the last word, the last minute. But a week or two before the event can come over here, oh man, I can't handle anymore. But you already have everything in place, so you don't want to be embarrassed, so then you want resources to dig down your pocket.
Would you be embarrassed if I asked your age? How old are you, man?
53.
53. You look younger than that, but don't give up.
Yeah, right.
We want to thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you as well. If there's anyone else that would like to come to the microphone.
We heard, Madam Chair, we heard two excellent presentations.
Can you give your name for the
Oh, sorry,
record?
Nalita Gajada, citizen, yeah. We heard two excellent presentations this evening with regards to community activity. And both of them identified some serious problems to this commission. I know that that is not the purpose of the commission, but I would hope that somewhere between now and the ending of the commission and the appointment of the assembly, that there's some intervention, that there's some kind-hearted intervention to assist the two people, the two men who made the presentations.
Mr. Rowe and Mr. Harvey.
Mr. Rowe and Mr. Harvey, because what they are asking for is really a cry out for help. And that that might be beyond them, or they feel might be beyond them, but that they might just need some guidance in terms of how to do it. So I would like to suggest that the commission finds some mechanism to touch these people so that they can believe in the future, and not just see burden and so on. You throw it back at me, you throw it back at me, you throw it back at me. Yeah? I also want to say, because I grew up in this city. I was born in Martindale's Road. I lived in Pastis Road and in New Orleans. And I spent most of my life in Mason Hall Street. My growing up, I left Mason Hall Street when I was about 20, about that, yeah. And I like to tell people that growing up in Mason Hall Street, I had Reed Street at one side, Baxter's Road at the other side, and Chapman Lane down in the back. So when you really think about it, there was really no hope for me.
Or me.
There was really no hope for me. But like you say, you had interventions. Schools had a lot to do with it.
Yep.
Getting involved, getting yourself involved. Don't underestimate the importance of youth groups. Youth groups help to shape you and help to mold you into doing something beyond yourself with the community. And so that these are the reasons why we have to support, even as we're working towards this, that we got to support youth groups. And so on. Because I don't know what my life would have been were it not for the YMCA. Because from 13, I became a day camp counselor. Not because I wanted to be a counselor, but because I couldn't afford it. And if I went and became a counselor, I got to go all the bus rides, I got to go to the beach, I got to do the cookouts, I got to have all the experiences of the children that I was looking after. And I did that until, gosh, God knows how old I did that, So I think that we need to do that. And I also think that somewhere we need to get it out to authority, and I'm a public officer, but that we need to pay attention to the critical areas. It's fine to talk, sir, as you're an attorney, but talk about getting things through the court system and dealing with all of the trials and dealing with this and that. But you have an area that needs assistance, and that should be a priority. It should be a priority in terms of development. At Westbury PTA president, the principal at Westbury I was president there, and the principal locked me out of a meeting one evening. So I know the hardship, I know the problems that you can get when your school is not involved, or that the parents can't come and sit down on the pavilion, or that the parents can't participate. Westbury had a Christian?
Yeah.
Was the junior calypso queen, and they had fairs at Westbury, and they never allowed that woman to perform, that young girl to perform, and she had won a national competition.
Wow.
So we need to, when we're talking about the city, there are certain things in the city that only a city person can relate to because of the pain of living in the city and being treated as if you were nothing. Being treated, we had the housing project that was supposed to do something in the Greens and in Cat's Castle, Mr. Rowe, Cat's Castle. And that was just thrown out because people felt that they didn't know who owned the land, and the people didn't want to go down in there, and the money went back to IDB. The city is the life, I think, of a country.
Now, later, what's the population of what we are calling the city? Anybody knows?
But it got to be in the constituency itself.
Yes.
It got to be between 7 and 9. Although it keeps reducing all the time. Sorry?
7,000.
Yeah, it keeps reducing all the time. Yeah. But the city is two areas too. The city is up this side of the bridge
Uptown, downtown.
and that side of the bridge. And they may be called the city, but one side of the bridge and the other side of the bridge are living in two different worlds altogether. Uptown, downtown, cross down, all the way down. So we have in looking at the building of the assembly, we might also have to look in terms of the programming, in terms of in a zonal kind of way as well. Yeah. Because what program might fit in West Terrace or in Kendall Hill might not work in the city.
Yeah, I'm glad you raised that, Nalita.
Might say a zonal kind of look.
Yeah, we were, don't move, please. We were looking at organizing St. Michael into 4 assemblies. I'm wondering if after what we've heard here tonight, if we may not have to relook that idea and treat the city, and when I say the city, I'm including Carrington Village as well, yeah, and treat that as one block, so to speak, as one assembly. Because I'm sure the problems here are the problems in Carrington Village and Bayland as well.
Yeah, so your neighbor is not necessarily the person who lives next door to you, but the neighbor is the person who shared the same experience as you, that type of thing. That might very well have to be something that you look at.
So that for Mr. Rowe, who thinks that the problem is a local problem here, it may be a problem stretching as far as Bay Street. And we're proposing to establish assemblies on a wide geographical area. So that if you're on the assembly here, you would have jurisdiction as far as perhaps Bayland or the same Carrington Village, or perhaps Eagle Hall. We don't know as yet. But it seems that the problems here may require some very intensive inquiry.
Yeah, and there are some, the city has also had a number of people who have become extremely successful, who are leaders in every aspect of life in Barbados. And maybe we need to find a way, you need to find a way of getting those people to come back in the city, even if it's just for a dance.
Yeah.
You put flour and marl on the ground and have an old-time dance, and not a line dance, but an old-time dance across the dance floor type of thing. Maybe something like that. But it was heart-wrenching hearing your two stories, you know, and I hope that we're able to do something with them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, earlier we heard, not earlier here, but in an earlier town hall meeting, somebody was wondering if the charitable organizations aren't enough in terms of developing people's lives. And I don't think our commission agrees with that. We feel that the most genuine charity must come from among the people themselves, helping each other. And that you should not be relying on charitable organizations to come into a community and offer salvation. That salvation must come from within, and it must come from mutual charity between the citizens within the area.
I forgot to tell you that my mother had a shop. And that shop served a lot of people. Because people were holly, and holly, but you had the holly what they get. So you had that community, you know, that was building around those things, and that's how people survived.
Yes,
And
yeah.
lived in the city.
During this short break, we always like to acknowledge Ms. Cheryl Hunt, who is a founder member of the Israel Level Foundation, which has done outstanding work in St. Michael, and I'm not going to say in the Ivy, in St. Michael. Yeah? And the group is still going, is it?
Strong.
One of the strong groups in Barbados, yes. And of course, Mr. Adrian Donovan, who is running Paradise Football Club by himself. And he likes to remind us that it is one of the few homegrown football clubs in Barbados. Mr. Rowe, you spoke about your Passage United. Yeah, and you know, it is so important to have homegrown teams because the football now has become professional and people don't feel that same level of passion and commitment to a club. I remember going to the stadium at night and the whole of Carrington Village would walk up there because Weymouth Fields was a Carrington Village club. Beverly Hills was down here, Everton was down here, so people went and supported because they were supporting their neighbors and friends. That isn't happening again, and the communities in Barbados need to return to that, and I think that ought to be the mandate of a properly functioning People's Assembly, because I'm convinced that people genuinely want to have that community life again, but they're afraid. Some of them are shy, some of them feel that it won't come back, but it is in the people's hands. You all have to bring it back. And as I say, the government can't do it, the courts can't do it, the people have to do it. Yeah?
When we had the team playing away, every place we good.
Every
place we could play.
yes.
Remember what we do is swimming. Every place. And then we start a socialist, like on Friday, we go down Barden or down East Coast, and every place soccer court. The whole group is men and women. We like a family. But I'm really gone over. You make up on 10 years.
So you are as optimistic as Mr. Harvey that the community can return?
I will work again because we belong to the same area. But you have complained, I complained. Before you had a problem with the ball in the middle. Then we come on a Friday, playing a Premier League, and then play football. And then they know, you fall back in that time, when you prepare to get it sauce off, and don't get bed, you still walk on your feet, you go up there. So you play for my friend. Y'all can't break up here, no? These fellas go very good with it. And I can't back.
You want to make a contribution? Okay.
Who, Tampa?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You could come to the microphone. You can turn the microphone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Henderson Roach. Originally, I'm from New Orleans, but I live in the Kensington Lodge right now. But the question I want to ask...
You really live in Kingston, or you switch your address?
I adopt by our school. The question I want to ask though is, where will you draw the line between central government and local government?
Well, central government is the cabinet. And I was about to say to you that there are tiers of government in Barbados. Obviously, the courts are responsible for justice and that kind of thing. The day-to-day running of Barbados, the entire day-to-day running of Barbados' affairs is in the hands of the cabinet. And the parliament is there to pass law. Beyond that, there is no level of government. Right now, the people in Barbados depend on the cabinet and they depend on a parliamentary representative. There is no genuine popular participation in government in Barbados, and this is why we are proposing this, so that the people should have a say, a direct say, in how their lives are managed. In other words, it is self-government, government at the local level by the people who live in the communities. You asked about drawing the line. That was your question? Where do you draw the line? Well, that's where the line is drawn. Cabinet, Parliament. There's no other tier of government in Barbados. Why should not the people have a tier of government?
No, I'm not concerned about what the people have to say. I'm concerned about if we are just another fact-finding mission, we just talking.
You
and
mean
nothing.
this commission?
Yeah. I don't want we just gathering facts, discussing
Our mandate ultimately is to present a proposal to government as to how local government ought to be structured. And what we are doing here, what we've been doing for the last 2-3 months, is consulting with the people of Barbados for them to say how they feel these people's assemblies ought to be structured. But our mandate, and I wanted to clarify this for Mr. Weeks' benefit, the life of this commission is not going to stretch perhaps beyond this year. We are here to make a proposal to government for the establishment of people's assemblies. Yes? And when we make that proposal, our life as a commission has ended. It is up to the government to establish the people's assemblies, to legislate the people's assemblies.
But I was still concerned because Mr. Weeks made a suggestion about road repair. Now,
Yes.
A local government, I don't think we might got the finance to repair most of the roads.
Not the finance, but to
But
give advice to central government.
But that's what
to give advice to the Ministry of Transport and Works as to which road should be repaired and as to which road should have priority over another road. And that is a way of giving the people a direct say.
I understand that.
Do you know who makes the decision now as to which road is to be repaired?
I do not know.
You don't. Don't you think you ought to have a say in which road should be repaired?
Yes, but not only a say, but I want it done.
Yes, you want it done. Good point.
There will be a mix of people's input as well as the expertise of the persons within MTW. So you have the two meeting as opposed to just the expertise and none of the local knowledge. So the two still have to work together, and you have to make sure that that relationship works. But at this present point, it's just the expertise and none of the local input. So
We are not proposing that the People's Assembly should have the resources. The resources should stay with the Ministry of Transport and Works, but that the people should be in an advisory capacity. The term we've been using is requisition, that you should send a request to government to say Paris Gap needs to be repaired before President Kennedy Drive, for example, and to say why.
not just
Because you have the
feel
local
like
knowledge.
To go beyond what you were saying just now, I arrived here on this spot in 1987, moving to Kensington Lodge. Here was just a pasture. I held community activity, sports running, and eventually they built a pavilion on this spot. I think it was opened on my birthday, 11th of November. It's on the plaque. And I brought Beverly Hills, I'm from New Orleans. I brought Beverly Hills from New Orleans here, and we have cricket here because it was a cricket ground in the beginning. Eventually, it evolved into something far different, community-wise. Now, I'm not saying that it should be a cricket ground or football ground, but I believe that we can work out things. An amicable decision can bring things together, and we can work as adult people without fighting against each other. And if we put our heads together, I think we can come to a solution that everybody could be happy with. And we need to submit some more muscles and use the brain sometimes and get things done for the community. I've been cutting this pasture thousands of years along. I bought Kensington Lodge, and now I adopt Wendy Hall schools, both infants and big. There's no groundsman there. I pay for everything, buy bikes, buy lawnmower, keep the school, paint, cut grass, do everything to make Wendy Hall School a perfect school. It's not perfect, but every day of my life, 8 days a week, I'm at Wendy Hall School doing something to make it a better place for the people in the community. I want this commission to be a local, the word is on local.
You mean the People's Assembly?
Yeah.
You want the People's Assembly?
Local, local. Remember that word is important, local.
Yes.
To do the things that's to the people in the community, the ordinary people that we see every day that no one listens to.
we've been hearing that a lot.
Pardon?
We've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah, so we want people that, it be a local assembly that people have a voice. They can come and voice
Mr. Roach,
their
we're calling them People's Assemblies.
Yeah.
Yes? And we foresee that they'll meet in a place like this. And that,
you will vote for them.
precisely, and that people from the entire area will come to the meetings and say what are the problems on their street or in their community. That is what we foresee. And that is what we are proposing.
But I believe strongly though that if we work as a community, we can achieve a lot, even beyond the government. But we must do it together, hand in hand.
Well said.
There's too much individualism going on. One person doing a lot financially, but if we put our hands together, I think we in the community can make this place a better place, and we can change the entire Barbados around. But we must do it. Everybody must put their hand to the plow, and it can happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sisra.
Father is a deep person, a community man.
Still at
There's a
the,
lot of them.
still in the postal service? Still in the postal service? Or retired? A young man like you?
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
this particular assembly here tonight, for example,
You want to use the mic, Adrian? Oh, okay.
this particular
Because you're being streamed.
But I don't think persons that are online will be able to hear you
Yeah,
if you don't
better-
use a microphone.
Yeah, use the mic.
This particular assembly tonight is a perfect example of how the members of this community have come to this meeting. And I've highlighted the outstanding individuals who have done work in the entire community over the years. You saw fathers, you saw Roy, you saw Weeks, you saw
Harvey.
Harvey.
Ms. Gajada.
Ms. Kajada. So the Assembly will also recommend and recognize people that yourself who have done outstanding work. It is for you now, when the Assembly is formed, to put forward these outstanding individuals who have done outstanding work and service through the years and be honored. So if we have an assembly in this area, as Mr. Thorne said, we did an assembly just for Bridgetown area. You all could recommend 12 outstanding individuals across the area who have contributed, whether it's education, sports, dance, whatever. And you send for those names and they'll be recognized. And we could do that across the length of breadth of the whole of Barbados. And tonight you're all a perfect example. All the assemblies we had so far. I don't know, I submit the correction. But the 4 or 5 of y'all spoke about your individual community, what you have done, contributed, and you need to be rewarded. So this is what the people of the assembly is all about. And I want to congratulate all of you tonight for coming out and being part of this afternoon's activity, and hope that maybe get the approval to really go ahead. That somebody who spoke tonight will be part of the particular assembly representing this area.
Precisely.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Precisely. Thanks very much, Adrian.
I say we have a police officer, and he might be the officer in the area.
On the assembly.
On the assembly.
Yeah. And we want to make it clear that our proposal is that the members on the People's Assembly will be elected by the persons who live in the communities. We are not proposing that government should appoint anybody or select anybody. It is the people in the communities who will vote for the members of the People's Assembly. Yeah? And I'm sure that persons like Mr. Harvey and Mr. Rowe would find themselves easily elected by the persons who know of their work. And Mr. Roach as well. Yeah? Yeah. Special welcome to the police officers. I don't know, y'all allowed to speak in this forum? Yeah, I think, I know you would have to have, they work in the area.
You gotta go and cover up the uniform and speak as a private citizen.
Yeah, they would need the permission.
Okay.
Yes, well, thanks very much for coming. Thanks very much for the interest. Over to you, Chair.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a contribution before we wrap up tonight?
Yes, please. Use the mic, please.
If you're asking how soon we're looking to have it happen, we're looking to wrap up the town halls by this year so that we can submit a proposal to Parliament and hopefully have this process going by next year. That is the hope, and that is what we're aiming for. This, as Mr. Thorne would have mentioned, this is our 9th town hall. We have 3 more parishes that we need to visit, and there are other parishes that we will be revisiting. This is actually our 2nd time in St. Michael. Our first town hall was at the Graydon Seeley Secondary School, and this is our 2nd one in the parish of St. Michael.
When we went to St. James, an old gentleman said that the upper age limit should be 85. Do you have a view on that? That's the age limit?
Okay.
A minimum age limit? 14, 16, 18? Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
You can share.
Pass on the knowledge.
Yeah. For the purposes of the record, persons are not in agreement with having a minimum or maximum age. It should be based on what the person is able to contribute.
We must also highlight that you all are the first assembly, first meeting of second school setting. All the other meetings have been at schools. This is the only one from us. But we say that this is the only one that home. If the only requirement is the same, we said instead of going to a best burial, that you all go, you have to be all equal to make it possible. So you all are the first.
Somebody had suggested Queen's Park.
I'd like to thank everyone for their contribution tonight. Every single town hall we've had has been unique and different, and it shows the diversity of the Barbadian people. But one thing that sits at the heart of every town hall is that persons want the best for their communities in whatever fashion they see as the best way forward. And we are very hopeful that persons within the different communities will be able to identify those who will be able to represent them well and vote for those persons so that we can see some real changes in the communities, because too often there are so many individuals who are pulling their personal pockets, who are fighting the fight by themselves. So we're hoping that this will lend the resources and the strength for you to continue that battle, but not by yourselves. Thank you for coming out tonight, even with the weather that we've had. I'd like to share with you the email address for the Thorne Commission, which is thorne.commission@barbados.gov.bb, and the telephone number is 535-1600. The email address again, thorne.commission@barbados.gov.bb. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, so that if you don't remember the email address or you weren't able to write it down or have a pamphlet with the information on it, you can go on the Facebook or Instagram page, you can send a message, and we will respond there as well. And we hope that you will have a very good evening. At this point, we do not have the location for our next town hall. Next Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, so there will be no town hall next Wednesday. But as soon as we have the information available for the next one, we will share that information with you. Look out for the poster in the local newspaper and on social media. Thank you very much.
Trouble with Mr. Rowe.
Don't forget me.
Came for you tonight. I can see that. At home, you used to play the back line for Beverly Hills.